Good morning, church, YouTube, and Facebook friends. Welcome to Reflect and Revive. My name is Tom Bussinger, and today I wanted to share with you the thoughts of trusting God in tough times. You know, it seems so easy to trust in the good times. Have you ever thought about why we tend to trust more in the good times than we do the bad times or the tough times? When we can see the outcome as in our favor, we tend to trust more. But when we're unsure about the outcome, we tend to trust less. Most of us would say, of course, I trust in the outcome that I can see or sense than when I cannot. And a few examples, sometimes we have that banker's trust, as I can give you the loan if you have good credit. I can trust you if you have a big house. I can give you the loan and trust you if you pay your bills. We sometimes have that banker's mentality around trust. When your bank account is in a good place, we seem to trust more. When the storms of life are really calm and not raging, we trust more. When those who maybe can't swim and their feet are still on the ground and they haven't really launched out in the deep, then they can trust. When the odds are in our favor, we tend to trust more. I heard someone say, experienced sailors were not crafted on smooth seas. It sort of makes sense. So some more things I would think about is I would ask, is that really trust, or are we strengthening our ability to trust if the only things we trust in is what we can see or that which falls in our favor as an outcome? If so, I would say your level of experience or depth in trust is very shallow. Have you ever heard someone say, or maybe you have said, I would not trust that person as far as I could throw them? How about our marriage vows? Those standard vows, which many write their own vows today, but if you think about it, you know, the marriage vows are to have and to hold from this day forward for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part. This is trust from one spectrum, better, to the other spectrum, worse, and so on. The vows do not say for better, for richer, and in health, just naming out the positive things or the positive side of things which fall into the category of in our favor. Perhaps this is all we hear at the altar or wherever it is you took your vow. Let me tell you about a more personal experience of trust I was able to witness, which brings us a little closer to home. I saw my dad when I was very young, and he was disabled, and he had his income removed from him until his case could be reviewed or heard in a future time. It was the only source of income that we had. My dad, we had 5 children, of course my mom. Every day he walked down a long driveway on the farm, 6 days a week, after his income had been removed, looking for that check in the mailbox. He returned every day with no results, yet he kept trusting God to supply the need. To make a long story short, he walked to the mailbox back and forth for 10 months. And after a while, I said, hey, Dad, why even go? What's the use? And he said to me, I trust God that He will bring us through. Yes, that's exactly what happened too. On the 11th month, he went to the mailbox and came back, not only walking, but running. Yes, this man came back running. He said, hey, I got my income and I also got back pay, the retro pay that when they took it away unfairly. He trusted God in the tough times. No matter what he found in that mailbox each day, his trust grew stronger as he learned to lean on God. We could all use a lesson on leaning and what that looks like. Many times we prop up on things. Like if you prop up on a chair and move the chair, you would not fall. That's propping up. But if you lean on the chair and someone kicks that chair from out from under you, you would fall. This reminds me of a story that always got my attention in the Bible about 3 Hebrew children, whom we're all familiar with. They're named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. To make a really long story short, these 3 men were in charge of the province of Babylon. However, it was reported to the king Nebuchadnezzar that they paid no attention to him and refused to serve his gods and did not worship his gold statues. Now, this put King Nebuchadnezzar in a rage as he demanded to have these men brought before him. Once they arrived, they were asked if the accusations that were made are true. Do you refuse to serve my gods, he asked him, or to worship my statues? He advises them that they will be given one more chance. When the musical instruments started to play, they will need to bow down and worship the statue. And if they failed to do so, he would have them thrown immediately into a fiery furnace. Then what would they do? Who would rescue them from all the power that Nebuchadnezzar thought he had? The answer, the 3 men stood boldly and replied, "We do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the fire, the God we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power." Now think about that. The king was used to having people do what he said and worship these statues and bow down before him, while almost everyone was doing as the king commanded. These 3 stood on trust and in trusting God in the tough times that he would deliver them. They even went as far as saying, even if he does not deliver us from this fire, we will never bow down and serve the statues of gold. Of course, this only prompted rage with the king. So he had the fire stoked to even a higher degree, 7 times hotter than usual. In fact, it was so hot, the men who ordered to throw them in were burned and killed. Afterwards, the king, looking into the furnace, found something other than what he expected. He said to the bystanders and to his advisors, "Didn't we tie up and bound 3 men and toss them into a fiery furnace?" They said, "Yes, we did." The king said, "Look, I am seeing 4 men, unbound, walking around in the fire unharmed, and the 4th looks like the Son of God." Now this is an example of trusting God in the tough times. You see, as mentioned, it's much easier to trust in the good times, as there's nothing challenging your belief. In the tough times, conditions seem to step in the way, and trust seems to step aside or fade away. Trust needs to be the foundation on which we serve, part of our DNA, unconditional in every way. However, we use this word very loose, and it seems to be most popular when it benefits only us. Can trusting with a motive be a real demonstration of trust? The word says in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not into thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Lastly, my friends, I hear many people saying, if I could learn to trust God, believe me, You can trust God. The question is, can He trust you? Trust you to spread the gospel, protect His temple within yourself, to do what you say you would do, to be a beacon to others around you, to move away from sin, to love, to cherish, and protect that which protects you. Can He trust you to do that? It's easy loving people that love you. Try loving someone that don't care for you. Trusting in the tough times. It takes courage, it takes strength, and it takes demonstration, willingness, trials, and most of all, God. It's only possible through Him, friends. I hope you take something from this session and start building trust that will stand the test of time. Remember, in-depth trust is built in unsure times. I hope you got something from this session. Until we meet again, God bless.